Adobe Illustrator was made for the pen tool. Let's see how the pen tool works. But first, maybe a coffee? The pen tool allows you to draw a shape made of vector lines with anchor points. The curved lines of this circle are vector lines, and the 4 points are called anchors. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a hidden layer here with a raster circle. I'll make the raster circle visible by clicking the eyeball icon in the Layers palette, right there. What's the difference between a raster circle and a vector circle? You'll see the difference when I zoom in on the raster circle. Eventually, it gets pixelated, just like any JPEG or a PNG image. See that? It just breaks apart. When I zoom in on the vector circle, it stays sharp with smooth curves. Professional logos are made with vector artwork because the same logo that we print on a business card or a grain of rice can be scaled up and printed on a truck or directly on the sun using fireproof ink, because that exists. At this point, I want to mention that if my tools in Illustrator are in different places from yours, it may be because I have a different workspace selected. You can see that there are many workspaces to choose from. Each workspace is optimized for a different task. There is no right or wrong workspace for this tutorial. If you're a beginner and you want your workspace to match mine, choose typography. I can also move tools around if I want, and I can put them in different positions on the right side menu. I can pull them out so they are floating windows, and I can even delete them. If you accidentally move or delete a tool, don't panic. I just deleted colors. Try clicking on one of the workspace menu options to see if the tool pops up. And it did here. You can see there's color. But let's go back to typography. Did it pop up again? No. But I can still find it. So if there's a tool, a specific tool you can't find, click Help at the top. Enter the name of the tool you're looking for. And a big floating arrow points at the location that you can find the tool. So I'm looking for color right there. And it says it's in Window. And it looks like if I hit F6, it would bring it up. But I can just click color. And there we go. It's back. So let's just put it back where it belongs. There we go. By the way, there might be more than one place that you can find the tool. And there also might be more than one item that has the word color in it. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The menu on the left is called the toolbar. It can be pulled out and accidentally deleted too. Don't panic. Type toolbar in Help. To bring it back. Oh, and I should mention I want the advanced toolbar. And there it is. It's back. By the way, it is important that you use the advanced toolbar, and you'll see why as we kind of move along. Let's get back to the circles. Ideally, when we render objects with vector lines, we want to draw them with the fewest anchor points possible. This circle, as I mentioned before, has 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are anchor points. This circle has 4 anchors because we can't make a circle out of 3. I'll draw a square, and it also must have 4 anchor points. And let's hide the raster shape. Click the rectangle tool in the toolbar. Click on your surface, drag, and you can see it kind of goes whatever shape I want. If I hold Shift, it stays square. And if I zoom in on this square, you'll also see, again, 4 anchors, 1 on each corner. If I use the black arrow tool at the top of my toolbar, I can select the entire object. Here's the black selection tool. If I use the white arrow tool, I can select just one side of the square and move it around. Or I can select just one anchor and move it around. The key thing to remember is that the black arrow tool selects whole objects, and the white arrow tool lets you choose parts of the object. With the black arrow tool, I can select objects and make copies by holding down my left mouse button and dragging the object. Then, if I hold down the Option key, you can see the cursor has a double arrow. When I let go of the mouse button, a copy is made. This is a great function if you want to save the original version of an object and you also want to make little changes. So I'll save my original version here, and then I've got a copy over here that I can mess around with. Now let's draw new shapes using the pen tool. When you single click on your artboard with the pen tool, it plants an anchor and a line follows your cursor. So I'm not holding down anything here, it's just following me around. When you click again, it plants another anchor. You can keep planting anchor points until you come back to the origin. And then a circle appears with your cursor. This means that when you click, you've completed the shape. Let's do that again a few more times. Now let's change the color of all these shapes using the palette icon on the right. If you don't have a palette tool on the right, where do you find it? Does anybody remember? Help at the top. That's right. So this is actually called color. I call it the palette tool because it is a palette. But let's change the color of these things. If I click on the color, okay, now I can change the color, and I've got the fill here. Let's see. Let's make this one more of a green. We're going to make all these different colors. Let's make this one yellow. Bright yellow. There we go. We're seeing objects in preview mode now, which shows all the fill colors. If I click View at the top and click Outline, colors are gone and I see just the vector lines that all the objects are made of. In this view, let's use the white arrow tool and see what happens if I delete a line. So I'll select a line here, and I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. It disappears. You'll notice that it automatically selects all the anchor points after I hit delete, so just click off and now click back on to select an anchor point. And I'm going to hit delete again. Let's use a different tool. When I click and hold down my pen tool on the left, I see two more pen icons, so one with a plus sign, one with a minus sign, and the anchor point tool. If I click the minus pen, I can delete anchors, but you'll notice something happens when I use this tool to delete an anchor. Look, so the vector line is still there, but the anchor is gone. So whereas using the white arrow tool to delete deletes anchors and deletes lines, and it actually breaks it and it opens up the shape. When I use the minus pen, the shape actually stays intact, but it loses an anchor. I can fix the broken shape here by clicking the pen tool. So going back to the original one. So clicking the pen tool on the anchors on either side of the gap. So if I click here, you can see there's a little line that appears. And now I go over here, and there we go. So now this is fixed. Let's switch to the plus pen. This lets me add anchors. So you can see if I click on the line, it adds anchors anywhere I click on the line. And you know what? Let's go over to the circle and do that as well. There's an important distinction between how the square is made and how the circle is made. The square has sharp points at the anchors. The circle has curves at the anchors. The difference is that the circle has these handlebars that you can move up and down, and you can make longer or shorter to control the curve. Up and down, and I can make them shorter. If you turn your handlebar too far, you get a loop. And that's easy to fix. You just grab the handlebar and twist it back. I'm just going to undo that, bring it back to the circle shape. Now let's use the anchor tool. If I click once on an anchor with a curve, like on the circle, it turns into a sharp edge and the handlebars disappear. If I click just one side of a handlebar, I can break the handlebar into two handlebars now. Now I've got two handlebars and they operate independently of each other. If I click an anchor that has no handlebar, but this time I hold down the mouse button and I drag, I actually create a new handlebar. This lets you have complete control of your line. You can make straight lines curved, curved lines straight. You have complete control. I'm going to switch back to preview. And yeah, now you can just experiment. So try using the pen tool for yourself. If the pen tool is totally new to you, take time to practice. Especially when it comes to making big, smooth curves. They can be tricky. And I think it's time for me to get a coffee.